Okay. I'm hoping this gives me my time. I don't know. But anyway, so she's been talking to me about this honoring myself as divine because, there's nothing about our society that necessarily honors women as divine or teaches us to honor ourselves as divine in our society. It's like we women have become this thing who is in service to everybody else, to our jobs, to our communities, to our children, to our lovers, to our families, and then if you are a person who is in service to yourself, you're necessarily considered selfish or, things like that. And we have to move away from that. First of all, we have to move away from the guilt of being okay with healing our lives, being okay with not needing anyone's permission to heal our lives. And I was talking to you guys originally about this group that had targeted me and the ego consciousness of it. I thought it was very interesting that there were a lot of particular groups that were raising up, that were defining themselves as male chauvinists and defining themselves as anti-feminists and defining themselves of anti whatever they were anti-fascism, anti this, anti that. I would think that anybody living in America would be anti-fascist. You would be against fascism. But I don't know. It is what it is. And the thing about it is people project. A lot of stuff that was happening to me was projected onto me. First of all, I was in a mixed marriage, whatever that's supposed to mean. I was black and he was white, and we lived in a predominantly white neighborhood. We lived there before Donald Trump was elected as president. After that, the culture of our community changed drastically. And some of those people, the new management of the development that we lived in, those people had some of the same arrogances and some of the things. Really, those people are just capitalists. They are just about money. But they use some of the ideologies, I would just call it Willie Lynchisms. They use some of the Willie Lynchisms because race, even though it's a complete construct, and race is money in the U.S. Division is money in the U.S. If you keep people in a certain consciousness of thought, then you keep them enslaved. So entrepreneurs, business owners, landowners, they have a stake in race culture. They have a stake in hate. Hate sells. Hate is a huge industry, especially in the U.S. Hate sells. Because if you get this group of people who can hate another group of people, and you tell these people, if you keep up this hate, I will make sure you have a roof over your head, that you will have food, that you will have clothes, that you will have a better chance of America. You're not doing all of those things. Basically, you're just keeping those people on the treadmill so that they feed into your wealth. Basically, that's what they're doing. They're feeding into your wealth. So here is this incredible, very wealthy landowner, feudalism. Here we go. And this landowner it's a national company. I started doing research and I learned that all of the things that this person is into is pretty much the incubus of organized crime unit. The person is into real estate, the person is into storage, the person is into trucking, and so on, so on, so on. And recently I'm pretty much believing that the person has gotten into tech. So here you have somebody who has the ability to galvanize people who operate from a place of anger and hate and frustration. He has to galvanize them. So he needs his own little army to protect, the empire that he's building. So when he's looking at me as an advocate of saying, hey, your people are not just going to come in here and try to intimidate me and try to use illegal tactics and try to weaponize the law against me, try to weaponize, statutes and, this whole little thing. I'm a citizen of this country, and right now I still have almost all of the rights that everybody else has. So you're not going to use the law against me. That was how I advocated for myself. Because these people, they have a mode of operandi, the way they operate. They move into a town, the town where they can easily buy law enforcement with gadgets. In my opinion, I believe that they invested in the community surveillance program that started in Ottawa County. And, here you have a very wealthy businessman, and the businessman say, hey, I want my property to be secure. How about if I provide you guys with some satellite drones? Okay, law enforcement is looking at, satellite drones. We get to have access. We get to watch these criminals, blah, 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 blah. All sounds really good until the person that's the wealthy businessman, because they don't know who this wealthy businessman is in business with under the table is, just like Trump, the Russians. Elon Musk is a South African pillager. He is used to going into countries, taking all of the resources and being the only family, the only one who benefits from them. No matter how many, investors they have or whatever. In America, American white men, businessmen, have traditionally been those who bend over backwards, not taking Vaseline, saying, oh yeah, if you're from another country and you have money, just bring me your dollars and I'll just bend over and do whatever you want. And then they find themselves in situations where, they don't even own their companies anymore. They don't own their homes. They don't own anything because the people that they've gotten in bed with are the people that, they were trickling dollars. And, what does it mean? Anybody can pay you. If I'm really wealthy and I have an interest in your borders, I have an interest in your products, I have an interest in taking over American soil, then it really doesn't mean anything that I can come in and I can, spend thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars if I can come in, if I know that I can buy you with that money. And that's what's been happening over the last few years. Foreign entities have been buying their own little armies with American workforces that they don't even know, and they call these little groups militias or whatever, and the leaderships of these militias are the only ones who are making really the big bucks. And then they're galvanizing all of these people to commit major crimes. Right now, the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest threat to American society is tech feudalism, is being enslaved through technology. And that is what these people have essentially been doing to me with the government's permission, because the FAA has allowed it. Check out the Stargate program, which may now be, circumventing itself. Let's just look at Michigan. We had a situation where the highest ranking member of government, which is our governor, had a group of white nationalists decide that she pissed them off because they couldn't make money for a couple of months, and she was asking them to wear a mask. So as their response to her decisions during COVID was, okay, we will meet in public private chat rooms, because they're meeting on Facebook, which is public social media, which is definitely monitored. So they had eyes on them that allowed them to make these plans. They had situations in place. They had an FBI agent who was an asset and within the organization, who, by the way, just has to happen to own a cybersecurity firm. What does that mean? Does that mean that he got turned and he gave essential information to members of this organization? Because in order for him to get deep in the organization, he had to do a lot of criminal things. One of the things that's pretty prominent within this particular group, I know with the ones who've been targeting me, is they like to use tech surveillance. I mean, it's a practice that's been used by espionage groups or, special interest groups, cringe groups, political groups for a long time, recording people doing things that are immoral, doing things that are, above, that are illegal or blah, 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 and then blackmailing them with it. So I feel like we're going into tech feudalism, and I'm kind of veering off a little bit, but my whole point is this ideology of them using the same old tactics to create new groups of slaves, because this whole ideology of the metaverse is them taking up new territory of, the wild, wild west is the new space, is the new thing. And the reason I'm going to tie all this all together, give me a minute. I want you to look at some of in the last 10 years, what happened to some of the major marriages of the tech tycoons. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. I don't know about Zuckerberg. I don't know if he's in a relationship or not, but he had the most influence in terms of a tech billionaire. He influenced a freaking election by not being bipartisan and by allowing the voice of hate to infiltrate America in the way that he did. And, a lot of people look at him, but I really believe that this kid, he's not a kid anymore, he's a grown-ass man, but I believe that he's owned by these groups, because when these groups get their tethers in you, if you fear the loss of anything you fear they already own it. And that's why you have to be fearless with these people, because they use, these are strategists. They use some very deceptive, disgusting strategies to tether people. And some of these people, these wealthy families, these secret societies, they are, they present themselves as these clean, living, good Christian Americans when they really are a bunch of dark magic, spell casting, mirror magic, and incantations, and a lot of crazy stuff. They use a lot of sex magic, these groups, and that's why probably the sex diseases have gone up, pivoted sky high, because a lot of these groups, especially these male chauvinist groups, are just front for men who like to have same sex, and they're on the down low, and they just, it's like I like men, but I don't want to be open about being gay. So I just like to have sex with men behind closed doors. And then I have a wife and I have children and I have, I come out as super male, alpha male or whatever. But really what I am is a guy who just likes having sex and being around a lot of guys with beautiful bodies and blah, 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 blah. And guys who like guns. So that's a lot of that's going on too. Okay, but let me tie it in. So I was telling you about the marriages ending. The consciousness, when the consciousness of a union leaves that union, then you are just left with this sense of intellectualism. You are left with this ambition that doesn't have balance, because there's nothing wrong with being ambition, but ambition without morality, ambition without consciousness, that's a whole nother level. That's why we have gotten into the state that we are in right now. That's how we elected Donald Trump as president. That's how the GOP has gotten to this sense of division. And that's why, because this has all been planned out. Putin is a very good strategist. Colombian drug lords are very good strategists. Mexican drug lords are very good strategists. People who run the underground in the United States of America and on the planet Earth are extremely good strategists. A concierge. I mean, they even have positions in these groups for strategy, because strategy is one of the most important things that you have to get into when you are fighting a war. And let's face it, anybody of wealth in this country is always at war at war with themselves and at war with everybody else. But mostly is I'm at war with anybody outside of myself, because whatever I have built, whether my little empire right here, I will keep at all costs, and I will win at all costs. And so that's what this real estate mogul, and it's a little group of them. They also have a nonprofit organization front. They have offshore banking, and I don't know all of this about these people. All I know is I'm living my little life of no significance to anybody, and these people come in and begin to try to bully me, and I decide, just like they decide that I don't matter, I decide that I do. And that is what the whole message of ISIS is saying. It does not matter what the fuck other people say about you. It doesn't matter. Here was Seth, who was jealous of Osiris, jealous of the love that Isis had for Osiris. And he wanted to destroy that. He knew the best way to destroy, or in his understanding, the best way to destroy Isis and her love was to kill, murder, destroy, dismember, and do away with Osiris. And then, she would turn all of that love magically upon him. It doesn't work like that, but when you have a distorted mindset, you only go with, what your belief system is. So what I'm learning from Mother Isis in terms of how you apply the story of Isis, how you apply the story of Oshun, how you apply the story of Mary, and saying it doesn't matter, because people are always going to talk about you. People are always going to target you and say, this person is not worthy of something. Even your own life that they didn't give you. They didn't give you life. They didn't breathe breath into you. They didn't do anything, but they have decided, you know what? This person is a nuisance because they say it is. And a lot of people project, this group would project a whole bunch of stuff onto me. First of all, that I was a feminist. I've never been a feminist. I've never saw myself as a feminist. I've never aligned myself with feminism, because one, in my opinion, feminism, I couldn't afford feminism. I couldn't afford feminism because I was a black man's daughter. I couldn't afford feminism because I am a black man's sister. I couldn't afford feminism because I am a black man's mother. I was a black man's wife. I was a black man's lover. I was a black man. I was a black woman. I couldn't afford feminism because feminism, in my opinion, only serves white women, and the only time they align with any other women group is when it's in their service. And that's something I could not afford, because I